Eldrick stops humming for a moment. Just a moment. He holds the limestone block, as if holding a captured star, then lays it carefully upon the ground. It is not ready yet. It must wait until tomorrow for the sun's gold touch. Old as he is, patience is still a virtue for a stonemason. Each stroke, each piece, has its own time. His eyes drift up to the gargoyles. They perch above him like gnarled branches of a dead oak, twisted and wild. And yet, they watch, silent witnesses to centuries of dreams, both those dreamed by sleeping villagers below and those that wandered the night, lost or searching. But tonight, Eldrick isn't carving a gargoyle. He is shaping something different, something born of kindness and memory. And you are a part of it. See, what he makes tonight is a gift for a young girl named Elspeth, who lives at the end of the valley in a cottage with her grandmother. Both are kind and gentle, though Elspeth's grandmother is losing strength against the stubborn ache of her bones. Soon, she may leave for somewhere warmer, somewhere with more sunshine. But she is afraid of the road, and more afraid of the dark. So young Elspeth came to the stonemason, seeking help. She wanted something to chase the shadows away, something to stand guard while she slept. Eldrick thought long about this. He did not want to make another gargoyle, fierce and frowning, a creature that might frighten a child. No. Instead, he is making a dream catcher, a simple ring of stone to hold back the cobwebs of nightmares. Yet even in simplicity, there is beauty. Eldrick's fingers, though gnarled like the roots of an ancient oak, move with grace. He taps the limestone lightly, testing its music, then begins to work. The fireflies are waking now, blinking on like fallen stars. And as the first blush of twilight paints the western sky, Eldrick finishes the ring. It is small, barely bigger than Elspeth's hand, yet delicate and strong. The loops are perfectly round, the lines flowing together like water. To finish it, he needs something else, something pure, and he knows where to find it. Without his cloak, Eldrick becomes one with the shadows, one with the gray cloak of the approaching night. He slips easily through the trees, knowing their paths by heart. When he reaches the river, he kneels and dips a small silver bowl. The water is cool on his calloused palms. He looks up to see the last sliver of sun sinking below the horizon. Then he returns to his tools, placing the water on the moss. It collects the starlight, turning night to day. He dips his brush in the water, adding a final touch to the ring. No gargoyles will guard the sleep. No nightmare cross this threshold. Not while the dream catcher hangs in Elspeth's room, glowing faintly like moonlight on water. Now, as the last rays of sunlight bleed from the sky, Eldrick, his joints crackle like autumn leaves underfoot. He pulls his cloak tight around him. It's getting colder, and though the gargoyles watch silently, even they cannot stay warm forever. The wind shifts, carrying the scent of rain and woods. Winter is coming, even here in the forgotten glen. Yet before he goes, he steps back to look at what he has made. Tonight, he is pleased. The dream catcher glows softly in the gathering dusk. Tomorrow, he will deliver it to Elsa, and when she sees it, he knows her face will blossom like a wildflower. Oh yes, she will love it. He turns and begins to walk away. But you can stay here with the glow of the dying embers, the murmur of the stream, the whisper of the gargoyles. You can stay as long as you like. But please, oh please don't tell anyone this place exists. This glen is safe for now. Safe from the prying eyes of progress. Safe from those who would tear down the old ways. It's safe from everything except memories. And remember, sometimes even stonemasons need someone to guard their dreams. As the fireflies wink out one by one, you feel yourself drifting. You feel lighter, freer. The gargoyles lean closer, as if sharing a secret, and the wind whispers, "Sure, come closer. Come rest your head against my moss-covered stones. Let me sing you a song. Once upon a time, long ago, when the mountains were young and the river ran swift and clear, the gargoyles weren't always grim-faced and stern. Oh no, they were playful and full of glee. forever dancing in the sunlight, forever chasing the clouds. Even the oldest owl chuckled at their antics. But then one day, a shadow fell over the glen. A great lord came riding by, and his face was ashen and drawn. He called for shelter from the storm, for the wind was sharp and the rain poured down. But the gargoyles mocked him, splashing in the puddles and chirping like mocking birds. "Why should we care?" they cried. "Go seek shelter in the human lands. We are free and wild." But the Lord was no ordinary man. He was a wizard, powerful and old, and he raised his staff, and his eyes flashed with anger. "You shall learn respect," he roared, and with a flick of his wrist, he touched each gargoyle with his staff. Immediately, their carefree laughter died in their throats. Their faces hardened into grotesque masks. Their kind, playful eyes turned cold and cruel. And so the gargoyles became the guardians of the glen, forever bound to the abbey, until the sun burned cold. But maybe, just maybe, if you listen very closely, when the moon is full and the wind whispers through the ruins, you can still hear the echo of their laughter. As the first hints of dawn paint the sky, Elderic stirs. He feels the chill of night draining away, replaced by the promise of a new day. Slowly, he rises, careful not to wake the sleeping glen. The gargoyles shift on their perches, stretching their shadowy wings. They, too, are stirring from their vigil. He gathers his tools, wraps his cloak tightly, and heads toward the rising sun. Today is a journey day. He will take the dream catcher to Elspeth, and he knows she will cherish it. As you watch him go, you feel a tug at your heartstrings. You don't want this tale to end, do you? But all good things must end, even dreams. And if you hold on too tightly, they might fade away. So let them go, little dreamer. And remember the magic you found here in the Forgotten Glen. Remember the warmth of the candlelight, the music of the stream, and the gargoyles who watch us always, who watch us always, who watch us always. Have you ever wanted to learn about history, but all the facts and dates left you feeling more confused than enlightened? Or maybe you've been putting off reading that classic novel everyone else talking about because it seems so intimidating. There's this idea that historical fiction and classics are hard to get into, but short form makes them surprisingly fun and accessible. They condense these complex works into bite-sized, engaging summaries. And what's most impressive is that they do it without sacrificing accuracy. Short form reads books and articles and creates interactive summaries, highlighting the key takeaways from each chapter. That way you can finish a book faster and understand it better. Their book guides offer a completely unique way to learn new things. Whether you want to catch up on current events, dive into a topic you've always found interesting, or finally tackle that classic you keep meaning to read, it's the perfect way to expand your knowledge and broaden your perspective. And you don't have to believe me. Try it for yourself. Plus, the first 500 of you will get an exclusive deal. The wind rustles through the long grass, sending a chill through the ruins of Whittington Abbey. The dying light of the setting sun paints the crumbling stones in shades of orange and purple. Somewhere, a crow cries out, startled by something. Then, silence falls again, heavy and deep. Only the whispering wind breaks the quiet. It's late autumn here in rural England. Winter's breath lingers in the valleys, and soon the first frost will paint the grass white. And when the snow falls, the wind sings a lonely tune across the hills. But tonight, in the fading light, the world seems to hold its breath, waiting for something. Deep in the heart of the abbey, hidden among the tangled roots and weeds growing between ancient flagstones, sits a lone man. He is old, older than the trees that surround him, his face etched with the passage of time, his eyes filled with stories untold. He is Aldrich, and his hands, gnarled and strong as ancient branches, move with a grace born of years of patient practice. He is a stonemason, keeper of the old ways, and tonight he is making a gargoyle. In his weathered hands, a hammer and chisel dance. Softly, the air vibrates with the rhythm of his work. The sound echoes through the empty abbey, mingling with the wind's mournful song. With each tap of the hammer and scrape of the chisel, he shapes the stone, coaxing from it a creature of myth and legend, a grotesque yet somehow beautiful being. And as he works, a lullaby echoes in his heart, soft, steady, eternal. Imagine, if you will, a realm where dreams take flight and imagination knows no bounds, where heroes embark on perilous quests and mythical beasts roam free. This is the realm of storytelling, and you are invited to be a part of it. As twilight deepens, the wind picks up, swirling fallen leaves into excited dances around the old man. He pauses his work, listening to the wind's wild song. His eyes, the color of moss after rain, gaze upward, lost in thought. When he speaks, his voice is a low rumble like distant thunder. "Tonight, we welcome the wild ones," he murmurs, more to himself than anyone else. The spirits of the wind, they play their tricks. They stir our deepest fears and awaken forgotten dreams. The gargoyle he is crafting is no ordinary stone figure. It is a conduit between the mortal world and the realm of spirits, a silent watcher, a protector against the darkness. He works with reverence, with a lifetime of knowledge guiding his hands, breathing life into the cold stone. Back in the bustling world, life goes on as usual. People go about their daily routines, unaware of the unseen forces at play around them. They do not hear the whisper of the wind or feel the presence of ancient spirits stirring in the night. But Eldrick does. He is the last of his kind, a keeper of ancient traditions, a storyteller in stone, and as he works, he weaves tales as old as time itself. With each strike of his hammer, he drives away the darkness, banishing fear and doubt. The gargoyle takes shape, becoming a symbol of strength and resilience. In the face of life's challenges, it is a testament to the enduring power of storytelling and the magic that happens when human hands meet nature's raw materials. As the hours pass, the gargoyle grows more detailed. Faces and expressions, symbols and patterns, all whispering their own stories. This particular gargoyle Aldrich knows will need a knowing smile, a hint of mischief in its eyes. For this spirit of the wind loves laughter and revelry, but also enjoys playing pranks on unsuspecting mortals. With his work almost done, Eldrick pauses to admire his creation. He sees not just a stone carving, but a reflection of the world around him, a world where the natural and supernatural intertwine. The gargoyle is more than just a work of art. It is a connection to the past, a link to the spiritual realm. Once finished, it will take its place among the other gargoyles that adorn the abbey, each with its own unique features and purpose. Together, they form a silent, watchful brotherhood, guarding the secrets of the old building and protecting those who enter its grounds. With a final tap of his chisel, Aldrich completes his masterpiece. The gargoyle is born. As he steps back to admire his work, the wind suddenly picks up, swirling around him and whistling through the broken windows. It's as if the spirits themselves are celebrating the arrival of their new companion. But Aldrich is not finished yet. He knows that each gargoyle requires a final touch, a blessing of sorts, a way to ensure it fulfills its purpose. Taking a small brush from his bag, he uses it to sweep away the last bits of dust, revealing the gargoyle's features in all their glory. And as he does, he whispers an ancient rhyme, a charm to activate the gargoyle's powers and set its spirit free. The wind outside the abbey seems to grow louder, more insistent, as if eager to release the spirit into the world. When he is done, Aldrich steps back once more and surveys his work. The gargoyle stands proud and strong, ready to fulfill its destiny as a protector of the old abbey. It is a fitting addition to the Silent Brotherhood, a testament to the skill and dedication of its creator. With the gargoyle complete, Eldritch gathers his tools and prepares to leave the abbey. He walks slowly, his steps echoing on the ancient stones, his eyes reflecting the fading light. As he passes by the other gargoyles, he nods his head in silent recognition, acknowledging their shared purpose and the bond they have to each other. Outside the abbey, the wind has died down and the air is still, the sky a deep velvet, studded with bright stars. The moon hangs like a silver coin in the inky blackness, casting long shadows across the ruins. Standing at the edge of the abbey grounds, Aldrich looks back at the old building. He sees not just a pile of crumbling stones, but a living, breathing entity full of stories and secrets. He knows that within those ancient walls, magic still lingers, that the spirits of the wind still dance and play. With a deep breath, Eldrick turns and walks away, disappearing into the shadows, leaving the abbey and its silent guardians to the night. The wind rustles through the ruins, carrying with it the scent of fallen leaves and the sound of crickets chirping. The gargoyles stand watch, their silent eyes staring out over the land, their stone bodies blending with the shadows. And in the quiet of the night, as the moon climbs higher in the sky, the gargoyles seem to come alive. They stir, stretching their stone limbs, shaking off the dust of centuries. They turn their heads, sniffing the wind, catching the scent of adventure on the breeze. They spread their wings, preparing for flight, and with a rush of air, they take to the skies. The gargoyles soar through the night, their laughter echoing across the hills, their joy mingling with the music of the spheres. They dance with the wind, twirling and diving, their shadows chasing each other across the moonlit landscape. And as the first rays of sunlight begin to touch the horizon, the gargoyles return to their silent vigil, settling back onto their perches and resuming their eternal watch over the sleeping world. And as the sun rises, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, the gargoyles seem to fade back into the shadows, their magic dormant, until the next moonlit night, when they will stir again and dance with the wind. And so the cycle continues, a timeless tale of mystery and magic, of gargoyles and the old abbey, where the veil between the worlds is thinnest and the spirits of the wind run free. Let's begin. There is a place here older than the trees, a place where stories sleep in stone and dreams take root in the whisper of leaves. This is a tale of twilight and turning, seasons, of ancient crafts and forgotten lore. It speaks of a time when magic lingered in the world, stirring in the hearts of those who felt its call. It is the kind of magic that lingers in empty spaces and echoes in hollow places, deep in a valley veiled by mist and memory. There lies an abbey lost to the relentless march of time. What was once a vibrant heart of faith and learning has crumbled into silent ruin, surrendering to the patient embrace of nature. Ivy, like emerald tears, cascades down weathered stones, mingling with moss that carpets the ground in shades of emerald and jade. Majestic oaks, their roots burrowing deep into history, stand sentinel around the ruins, their branches intertwined, as if sharing secrets from ages past. Here, amidst the grandeur of decay, there stirs a legend whispered on the wind. It speaks of an ancient curse, a malevolent force that slumbers within the very core of the abbey, awakening only when the veil between worlds grows thin. And should this spectral presence stir, it would unleash chaos upon the mortal realm. It is here that our tale begins. The sun dips below the horizon, painting the sky in hues of amethyst and crimson, as a lone figure approaches the ruins. His name is Eldrick, and he is keeper of the ancient lore, the last of a lineage entrusted with safeguarding the abbey's secrets. Time has etched lines upon his face, as deep as the carvings adorning the crumbling walls. His eyes, pools of wisdom, reflect the haunting beauty of the fading light. Wrapped in a cloak the color of twilight, he moves with the quiet grace of one who knows the language of stone. He carries with him the scent of mountain air and old libraries, a testament to a life spent among ancient texts and forgotten lore. Reaching the heart of the ruins, he kneels beside a moss-covered stone, revealing an entrance concealed by the relentless march of time. With gentle reverence, he removes a time-worn key from his cloak, its cold metal a stark contrast against his weathered skin. The key fits perfectly into the lock, and with a sound like a sigh, the entrance creaks open. A faint glow emanates from within, beckoning him forward. As he steps through the threshold, the world outside fades away, leaving him enveloped in the ethereal light of the past. Inside, time seems to have stood still. Dust motes dance in the pale glow emanating from an oil lamp suspended above a weathered stone table. Scrolls and books, their pages brittle with age, are scattered across the surface, whispering tales of forgotten lore. The air is heavy with the scent of aged parchment and leather, mingled with the earthy aroma of Eldrick himself. Every inch of the chamber is adorned with arcane symbols and diagrams, their meaning lost to the sands of time, yet still humming with residual power. In the center of the room, an ornately carved wooden box rests upon an altar-like stone, its surface inlaid with celestial charts and cryptic glyphs. The very air here vibrates with latent energy, a silent symphony of arcane potency. As Eldrick approaches the box, he performs a series of intricate hand movements, his fingers tracing paths, both ancient and arcane. Runes ignite, bathing the chamber in otherworldly light, and a low hum resonates, weaving a tapestry of ethereal power. With a final flourish, the hum crescendos, and the box begins to levitate, suspended in midair. It reveals a hidden compartment lined with velvet. Within lies an object of great antiquity, radiating an otherworldly luminescence. It is a pendant, crafted in the form of a stylized raven, its wings outstretched, as if in perpetual flight. As Eldrick reaches out, the raven's eyes, orbs of pure starlight, seem to gaze back, their depths holding secrets whispered across millennia. Upon closer inspection, he notices the inscription etched upon its chest, barely discernible, yet resonating with power. It reads, Vox, Tenebris Lux, Voice of Darkness, Bringer of Light. This artifact, steeped in age and mystery, is no mere relic of the past. It pulses with a timeless energy, a tangible link to the very essence of the Abbey's magic. Its purpose, much like the Abbey itself, shrouded in enigma, yet undeniably potent. Eldrick carefully secures the pendant around his neck. It's cool, touch a stark contrast against his heated skin. The moment the raven pendant makes contact with his chest, a jolt of energy surges through him. Visions flash before his eyes, fragmented whispers of a time long past. He sees the Abbey not as a crumbling ruin, but a beacon of arcane power, its spires reaching towards the heavens, its halls resonating with the murmur of magic. He glimpses the rituals performed within these very chambers, the incantations spoken, the very essence of the Abbey's magic woven into the fabric of reality. He emerged from the chamber, transformed, his eyes gleaming with newfound resolve. The pendant, nestled against his chest, hummed faintly, a constant reminder of the power he now wielded. The sky had deepened to shades of indigo, and the first stars began to glimmer, as if drawn by the very magic now coursing through Eldrick's veins. As the night deepened, Eldrick ventured further into the Abbey's embrace. The wind, now tinged with magic, seemed to guide him, leading him to a spot where the remnants of a high altar lay in silent grandeur. Here, amidst the overgrown stones, he prepared to perform the ritual of resurgence, an ancient spell designed to revitalize the waning magic of the Abbey. With the raven pendant as his focus, he wove a tapestry of arcane energy. The ancient words resonated from his lips, echoing with power. The very stones seemed to respond, their slumbering energies stirred by his incantations. As the spell reached its crescendo, the pendant blazed with light, bathing the Abbey in radiant luminance. Runes flared to life, tracing patterns of power across the ruins, and the air crackled with raw magical energy. The spell completed, Eldrick collapsed onto his knees, his strength spent. Yet as he looked up, his eyes filled with wonder. The ruins shimmered, not merely touched by magic, but reborn, imbued with renewed vibrancy. Ivy seemed to glow with emerald fire, and the moss beneath his fingertips pulsed with subtle energy. The very stones hummed with awakened might, their silence shattered by the triumphant melody of returning magic. The spectacle didn't go unnoticed. From the shadows of the cloister, a pair of figures emerged, their faces obscured by the gloom. Their eyes, however, blazed with animosity, their gazes fixed on Eldrick and the transformed ruins. Their leader, cloaked in darkness, stepped forward. His voice, a venomous hiss, cut through the night. So the old magic stirs once more, and you, relic of a forgotten age, have dared to breathe life back into these ancient stones. Eldrick rose, his gaze unwavering. I am Eldrick, last of the stonemasons, and this abbey, though fallen, remains a sanctuary of light in these waning times. What power do you wield, old man? We are the children of Umbra, our power born of the shadows that linger in this world's twilight, and we have waited long for the Abbey's magic to wane, for its secrets to lie open to our grasp. Then come. Eldric's voice rang with quiet power, and test your strength against the magic reborn. The Abbey may be in ruins, but its spirit remains unbroken. The children of Umbra exchanged glances, their leader's features hardening into a mask of resolve. Very well, he hissed. Let the ruins themselves bear witness to our power. And so the battle commenced, not with steel and shield, but with arcane might. Runes flared, shadows writhed, and the ruins trembled as if in pain. But Eldric stood firm, drawing strength from the very stones beneath his feet. As the fight raged, the Abbey became a whirlwind of elemental fury. Its shattered form a canvas for their battle. Dust swirled, illuminated by bursts of searing light and ominous shadows. Bricks groaned, displaced by tendrils of shadow and blooming blossoms of radiant energy. The gargoyles, silent sentinels atop the crumbling walls, seemed to awaken, their stone faces contorted in silent screams. In the midst of this maelstrom, Eldric and the leader of the children of Umbra faced off. Their opposing energies clashed, creating a vortex of raw magical power. The fate of the Abbey, perhaps of the entire world, hung in the balance as the night deepened. The climax of the battle approached, Eldric drawing upon the Abbey's rejuvenated magic, and the power of the Raven Pendant unleashed a torrent of pure light. The children of Umbra recoiled, their shadowy forms shriveling in the face of such radiance. With a final surge of power, Eldric banished them, their screams of frustration echoing through the ruins. As dawn painted the sky in hues of rose and gold, the Abbey stood bathed in ethereal light, its magic fully restored. The battle had taken its toll, but the structure itself seemed invigorated, its stones glowing with inner strength. Amidst the lingering echoes of the night's events, Eldric made his way to a secluded alcove within the ruins. Here, nestled amidst the fragments of fallen arches and weathered statues, he found solace. The pendant, now resting beneath his cloak, thrummed gently, a reassuring lullaby in the wake of the night's turmoil. As the first rays of sunlight touched his weathered face, he allowed himself a moment of quiet triumph. The Abbey, his home, his legacy, was safer now. The magic flowed through him, connecting him to the very essence of the ancient stones. He was not merely a keeper of lore, but a conduit of enduring magic. You might think the gargoyles don't move. You might think that after many years sitting hunched on the Abbey ruins, I wouldn't notice the change. But you'd be wrong. You see, I am never still long enough to truly see anything clearly. There are too many sounds to hear, too much to catch my attention, too much to do, too much to make, too many people to talk to. My hands are always busy. But these hands aren't mine. They belong to a stonemason who came to repair the broken Abbey. He came for 2 weeks, he said, and stayed for months. He set up his stall right over there by the fallen pillar, and I got to talking with him, and I liked him. He had calluses on his hands, dirt under his fingernails, and a smile like sunlight on old stone. I haven't seen anyone carve like him since the Masons Guild was at its height. He did each piece with such love. He took his time, and every morning he brought fresh bread and cheese to share, and we sat and ate together and talked. He talked about his home in the city, and I told him about the people who came to visit the ruins. Sometimes he would just sit quietly, looking out over the moss-covered stones, and then suddenly he'd laugh. "I will make that new," he said, pointing to a gargoyle nose, broken off and lost for many years. "I'll make that new, and it will be the best nose this gargoyle ever had." He did too, with the skill of someone who'd done it 100 times before. He measured, he marked, he chiseled, and bit by bit, a new nose grew from the old stone. And when it was finished, he stood back and smiled. "He has a face now," he said. And I knew what he meant. Each gargoyle, each statue, each block of stone had a story once, a reason for being, and they had faces to match. He called it giving them back their names. And as he worked, I saw a change in him. When he first arrived, he was tired. His eyes were downcast, His shoulders slumped. But as the days went by and he chipped away at the abbey stones, I saw him straighten up. His eyes lift to the sky, and when he stood beside his last carving, the image of a young girl holding a flower, I saw the sunlight in his eyes again, the same way it shines in the windows of this old abbey, the way it paints the dust, motes dancing in the air, the way it warms the weathered stone. Now he was tall, he was strong, and his face was filled with peace. It was like watching a legend come alive. He wasn't just a stonemason, he was an artist, a historian, a man breathing life into old stone. And in doing that, he breathed life into himself. I haven't seen anyone carve like him since. I haven't seen anyone live like him either. One day, he didn't show up at his stall. I waited an hour, 2 hours, and when the sun began to dip, I knew something was wrong. I hurried down the hill to find him. I didn't have. From far away, I heard music. It was soft, sad music, played on some kind of flute. And then I saw him. He was sitting on a fallen arch, his back against the stones, playing his flute and staring at the ground. As soon as he saw me, he stopped. "I'm sorry," he said, his voice low. "It's nothing. I just miss my home." He looked down at his flute. "And my grandmother is sick. She's very old. I'm going to go see her." He put his flute away and started down the hill. "I won't be back," he said, and he turned to look at me. "This place is too much for me. The stones, they have too many stories. They keep calling to me, but I have to listen to my own story, my own song. Don't look back. Listen to your song," he said, and he was gone. I listened to my song, and I knew what he meant. This place is filled with songs. Every stone, every echo, every footprint tells the story of the people who walked here before us. Some of them happy, some of them sad, some of them hopeful, some of them afraid. But the people who lived here weren't any different than us. They laughed and loved and dreamed. They made art and wrote songs. They were kind and brave, and they died. All of them, no matter how big or small their lives were, no matter what their stories were, all of them ended up here on the ground, underneath the grass, mixed with the dirt and the trees and the moss. Their stories become part of this place, part of this abbey, and I can still hear them. But that's not our song. Our song is ours alone. It comes from inside of us, from our hopes and our fears, our laughter and our tears. It's the song we've carried since we were born, the one that guides us, teaches us, makes us who we are. And as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky with streaks of red and orange, I realized that he was right. We can't keep listening to everyone else's song forever. At some point, we have to start our own. I looked up at the darkening sky and took a deep breath. It was time. It was time to start my journey again. The next morning, I woke early to the soft call of a lark. The air was cool and clear, and the dew-kissed grass sparkled in the pale sunlight. I stretched and yawned, feeling a new energy surge through me like the rising sun. The gargoyles hadn't moved. They were still silently watching over the abbey, their stone faces stoic and unyielding. But something had changed. The melody the stonemason had played the night before echoed in my mind, and I felt a sudden urge to explore. Beyond the familiar ruins, I set off down a path I had never taken before, drawn by an unseen force. As I walked, the melody grew stronger, urging me onward. I pushed aside overgrown vines and stepped over moss-covered stones, each one whispering secrets of the past. Suddenly, the trees parted, revealing a clearing bathed in golden sunlight, and in the center stood a weathered archway, almost hidden by creeping ivy. The melody reached a crescendo, beckoning me closer, and as I approached, I noticed a small figure sitting on the steps leading up to the arch. Startled, I stopped in my tracks. Was it a hermit, a lost traveler, or something else entirely? Curiosity overcoming my surprise, I stepped into the clearing and approached the mysterious figure. As I drew nearer, I realized it was a young woman, her back resting against the archway. Her hair, the color of ripened wheat, cascaded down her shoulders, framing a face of delicate beauty. Her eyes, the shade of twilight, were fixed on a spot beyond the clearing. Lost in thought, a single tear traced a path down her cheek, glistening like a diamond in the sunlight. She seemed so fragile, so out of place in the rugged wilderness. I hesitated for a moment, unsure of what to do. But something in her posture, the tilt of her head, the gentle rise and fall of her chest, compelled me to approach her. As I neared, I noticed a lute resting on her lap, its strings silent, its melody waiting to be sung. I cleared my throat, my voice echoing in the stillness, and she turned to me, a ghost of a smile gracing her lips. "Welcome," she whispered, her voice like the tinkling of a mountain stream. "I've been expecting you." And with that enigmatic statement, she rose, her movements graceful and fluid, and extended a hand towards me. "Come," she beckoned. "Let us walk among the stones, and I will tell you a tale." Taking a hand, I felt a jolt, a connection that transcended our physical touch. Her fingers were cool, yet somehow they sent shivers down my spine. I followed her deeper into the woods, the melody from before growing louder, more vibrant with each step. There are stories written in bone and sinew, in starlight and shadow. There are stories born in the flash of a sword, in the sigh of the wind. But some stories come from stillness. They live in the quiet lines etched in stone, in the patient weight of a building's bones, in the way a roof holds back the rain. These are the stories of places that wait, of spaces that hold. And these are the stories we tell when the world feels too loud, when our hearts are restless. This is an anthology series about places of power, about sanctuaries, about the stories that linger in the spaces between. Part 3. Quiet as the moon. This is a tale of patience, of moss and oak, of how sometimes the strongest magic is what we do not see. For centuries, the silver bow inn stood nestled in the crook of two hills, sheltering travelers and tradesmen alike. Its low stone walls had seen generations pass, heard countless tales spun by wandering minstrels, felt the steady rhythm of life live within its sheltering embrace. Now, it waits. The doors hung closed, barred against memories, held fast against echo. Its hearth grown cold, its tables overturned, its chairs pulled away from the fireside, all because it waited for one more guest. Outside, the world moved on. Farmers tilled the soil, children chased butterflies, lovers carved their initials on trees. But inside the bow, dust motes danced in sunbeams. Spiderwebs spun tapestries across the rafters. Ivy clambered up the chimney breast, its tendrils snaking through the eaves. Years turned to decades. The inn remained, a silent sentinel, its timbers sighing in the wind. And then one day, she came. She found the inn overgrown, the path to its door buried under fallen leaves. She pushed aside the curtain of vines and stepped inside. The air hung heavy with the scent of decay and the promise of new growth. Sun bled through cracks in the boarded windows, painting squares of gold on the floor. She walked carefully, her footsteps muffled by layers of fallen leaves that cushioned the chill stone. As she moved through the empty hall, it whispered tales of laughter and warmth and life. Each step resonated with the ghosts of fiddles and drums, of tankards raised high in song. She reached the hearth and sank to the cold stones, letting the echoes of merriment wash over her. And then she waited for someone, for something, for the inn to stir from its slumber. The wind sighed through gaps in the window frames, carrying the scent of wood smoke and distant laughter. Time stretched, patient and vast, mirroring the stillness that held the inn in its grasp. Then, as twilight deepened into night, she heard it, a key turning in an ancient lock, the creak of a door swinging inward. A figure emerged, silhouetted in the doorway, framed by the dying embers of a sunset. The inn stirred, its silence finally broken. She looked up, meeting the gaze of the newcomer. Recognition sparked in their eyes, a shared understanding passing between them. Together, they walked into the deepening shadows, into the embrace of the waiting inn, leaving the world outside to fade into the gathering gloom. Theirs was a tale waiting to be told, a story ready to begin, a connection forged in the heart of a place that had patiently waited for them both. Part 4. the weaver's hush. Sometimes solace is found in the most unexpected corners, in the spaces where practicality and beauty intertwine. Tucked away in a nook between a bustling market and a weathered church, nestled in the heart of the city, there was its windows, dusty and dim, held secrets, whispered in dried herbs and whispered remedies. Inside, jars lined the shelves, each holding elixirs, tinctures, concoctions, designed to soothe the body and calm the mind. Mortar and pestle sat patiently on a worn oak table, waiting to grind the next healing powder. Behind the counter, an old woman stirred a bubbling potion, her wrinkled hands moving with the practiced grace of one who has counted countless seasons. The apothecary was a sanctuary, a refuge from the clamor of the marketplace. Here, time moved slower, measured by the gentle boil of a healing broth, the rustle of turning pages in an ancient book, the soft murmur of the old woman as she recounted tales of natural remedies. Those seeking her help found more than just cures for their ailments. They discovered a haven of tranquility, a place where the weight of the world seemed to lift and worries dissolved into the fragrant steam of her potions. For within those four quiet walls, there was a magic that transcended the physical, a magic woven into the very fabric of the space itself. It emanated from the old woman, from the whispering herbs, from the worn tools of her trade. It was the magic of serenity, of finding peace in the simplest of moments, of healing in the quietest of ways. Part 5. The Watchful Stones. There are places that hold memories, not in photographs or diaries, but in the very structure of the land itself. Such a place exists on the edge of a windswept moor, where the earth has patiently borne witness to generations. Here, amidst the rolling expanse of heather and rock, stand remnants of the past. The weathered stones stand firm against the relentless march of time, forming a circle that has watched over the ages. Within this ring, countless stories have unfolded. Lovers pledged their eternal devotion. Communities gathered in solemn council. Dreams were shared and hopes were nurtured. These are the standing stones of whispering hope. Though the centuries have eroded their ancient names, the stones, remember, their rough surfaces bear the imprint of countless gatherings, of hands that once rested against their cold embrace. Each crack and crevice whispers tales of those who came before. Even the wind seems to hold its breath here, allowing the silence to speak. To sit among the standing stones is to step into a timeless realm. The wind ruffles the heather, the clouds drift across the vast expanse of sky, and in the hush of this place, one can almost hear the echoes of distant voices, feel the energy of lives lived long ago. Part 6. The Glimmering Keep. Sometimes the quietest sanctuaries are also the most whimsical. Tucked away at the end of a rainbow, quite literally, is a castle that shimmers with laughter and light. Its towers, shaped like oversized champagne corks, reach for the sky, winking at the clouds. Its battlements are adorned with fountains that dance and sing, their tunes echoing with even its drawbridge seems to hum with joy, welcoming all who cross its sparkling expanse into a realm of unending Here, the very stones seem to chuckle, the turrets titter, the banners wave with glee. The Glimmering Keep is a place where solemnity goes to die, and gaiety is the only language understood. It's a fortress of fun, a citadel of cheer, a monument to unadulterated joy. Inside, vibrant tapestries depict scenes of hilarity, suits of armor adorned with comically oversized helmets, and the royal family. Oh, they're a riot, always playing pranks, always giggling, always keeping the atmosphere charged with infectious laughter. To enter the Glimmering Keep is to surrender oneself to a celebration of life, to lose oneself in a whirlwind of camaraderie, jest, and playful revelry. Part 7. The Last Lullaby. Sometimes quiet solace is found not in grand halls or sprawling landscapes, but in the most intimate of spaces, in the nooks and crannies of a well-loved home. Tucked away at the end of a cobblestone path, hidden behind a cascading waterfall, lies a cottage that breathes stories. Its thatched roof sags with age, its walls adorned with climbing roses that bloom in hues of lavender and pearl. Ivy weaves its way through window boxers, framing views of a garden where flowers nod in sleepy farewells to the day. Within these walls, generations have found comfort. Parents have rocked weary infants to sleep in high chairs, their voices hushed with love and fatigue. Grandparents have knitted by the fire, their needles clicking a soothing rhythm that mirrors the beating of a steady heart. Cousins have huddled by the radio, sharing headphones to listen to faraway adventures. This house has seen tears, too, and held them close, absorbing sorrows as readily as it embraced laughter. Shared meals have seasoned its rooms, each bite adding another layer to the tapestry of familial bonds. Its very timbers seem to sigh with contentment, its mortar filled cracks, whispering tales of cozy evenings and lazy afternoons. It is a sanctuary built on memories, a refuge where the echoes of loved ones linger in the scent of baking bread, in the worn grooves of armchairs, in the faded photographs hanging crookedly on walls. To step into this cottage is to step into a living memory, to feel the presence of a life fully lived, a love deeply shared, a legacy lovingly carried on. These are the places where quiet is not silence, where stillness is not emptiness, where absence is remembered and love endures. These are the spaces that teach us how to hold on to the echoes of what has been, to cherish the whispers of the past, and to find solace in the quiet beauty of simply being.